Message from G.H. Rees, Group of Hellenic Reestablishment Group of Helens of Andromeda Constellation to military headquarters of all countries through the military attaches of the embassies. The Jewish-owned Kremlin has apparently ordered the wild forest fires in Siberia not to be extinguished. More crimes against humanity are being committed by this Kremlin now. Sirs of the military headquarters of all countries of planet Earth, the electronic clockwise microwave sensors of the Department of Technology of G.H. Rees Reestablishment Group of Helens of Andromeda at Patras, Hellas are recording an intensification of seismic anti-clockwise turning microwave emissions 20 times above normal over Athens and other Greek cities. The Greek-American patriots of various U.S. services are informing us of mass-coordinated HAARP emissions emanating from Alaska, Cyprus, West Africa, North Europe, and Russia, as well as U.S. maser weapons in Russia for the emission of the above seismic microwaves all across Europe and Greece, forming low atmospheric pressure fronts that cause heat waves all across Europe. The U.S. maser satellites are property of Jewish Rockefellers. Russian maser satellite weapons are operated by the Jews of the Russian government in collusion with the Jews of the USA and the Hebrew sections of European governments. Therefore, it is expected there will be catastrophic earthquakes across Greece, Europe, and USA. The epicenter of this European low-pressure front is being moved from Europe toward Greenland and North Pole by the Saxons, Hebrews, with their HAARPs and maser satellite weapons, with the devious criminal goal to bring about the melting of the Arctic polar ice caps for the following reasons: to concentrate Arctic waters around the planet's equator, as well as the two temperate zones of the planet, to the north and south of the equator, due to the planet's centrifugal forces. The result will be for many coastal residential areas inhabited by billions of people, as well as animals, to sink into the sea in the above-mentioned 3 geographical regions. To reverse the balance of this present geostatical seismic balances of the planet, resulting in the crime of the catastrophic earthquakes and volcanic eruptions across the planet, for the dismounting of all government authorities and murder of millions of people and animals across the nations of the planet, and especially the nations in the above 3 geographical regions on and below Earth's equator. The above criminal operations of reversing the planet's geostratical and seismic balance has been ordered by the Planetary Hyperlodge Hong of Shanghai, China Masonry, and to its given orders to the subordinate Hebrew Saxon Masonic lodges of AOA, OTO, and the City of London. These Masonic hyperlodges of the West are the ones ordering the Hebrew Masons lodges of the USA, Russia, and Europe. Thus we call upon you, all military headquarters of all nations of planet Earth, to immediately expel and deport all Chinese 888 and Korean citizens and non-citizens and PLAs, which they are, spies and military men, Jews and Saxon lords of 666, and the Masons of your national Masonic lodges, all of which are carrying out Hong of China criminal planning against the white and black races of mankind, and also against the planet's flora and fauna. You must arrest the U.S. Rockefellers of U.S. NASA, and you must order NASA to immediately cease operation of its maser satellite weaponry. You must destroy all HAARP microwave emission facilities across all nations of the planet. Failure to do so will result in you and your families being exterminated by these atrocious planetary crimes of worldwide geological and meteorological warfare, which China is now executing against all mankind. Russian maser weapons are setting Siberia on fire for the faster melting of the Arctic polar ice caps, while the Russian army is spraying clouds with iodine mercury to cause rain and to put out the fires. If the Russian army knew that the Russian Jews of the Kremlin set Siberia on fire, they would toss them right into the fire in order for Russia to be finally rid of these satanic bastards that are both setting fires and supposedly putting out fires in the burning Siberia. The fake God, father of Christians, Islam, and the Jews is burning the nations of the white race in Europe, America, Russia, and elsewhere through the satellite usage of lasers, masers, and HAARPs owned by Jewish Rockefellers of NASA. U.S. Jews and those of the Kremlin. Jehovah is the draconian Satan of our local galaxy with its earth-based satanic Mongols, Jewish Saxons of the 10th tribe of Samaria, and the Jews of the dual tribe of Jerusalem in order to ultimately establish the King of Jehovah, the Chinese planetary dictatorship of his yellow, genetically draconian race engineered for this planet. Study Chinese mythology who say they came from the moon. This criminal alien draconian whose spaceship Moon wants to exterminate you all in a massive planetary genocide of 5 billion people by his hybrids, Chinese and Korean armies. Huge raging fires are sweeping across Siberia, Russia. The Russian government has ordered they should not be extinguished. Information on YouTube channel talks about Chinese wearing gas masks and taking photos of houses around the lake Baikal. Massive stretches of the Russian taiga have been sold off to Chinese, who are exporting massive quantities of lumber to China and other countries. It is highly likely there will be huge losses in Siberia's local flora and fauna. The government says it's economically unprofitable to put out the fire in Siberian forests. So too bad for the animals which burn alive and all the flora and all that who suffer. Here's one witness. The scale of tragedy of underestimated. I'm a geophysicist of the first category. I lived in Yakutia for 25 years, and during that period of fires never had, and especially on such a scale, because today an area the size of half of all Europe burns. The danger is that the carbon from young dead trees saturates the atmosphere at a time. The CO2 content is increasingly explosively. The temperature rises locally exponentially. Permafrost melts under fires, and it contains huge reserves of hydrates, methane gas in the form of ice, accumulated over 65 million years. It ignites and heats more and more hydrates. Then methane in its pure form will rise into the atmosphere, and is 4 times more capable of retaining heat, which also raises the temperature. Fires in Yakutia is an ecological bomb in action. This leads to an increase in global temperature. The forests of the Amazon and Peru can catch fire when they burn, then everything else will be over for the civilization of people. Everyone will suffer, including you. Now you know. What will you do now? You are guilty of impoverishing Russia to the level of inability to extinguish fires. We need global help. We are not joking. This is your fake global warming agenda by these religious cultic assholes. Let's take first witness of a Russian guy who helped in the forests, saving animals.